Things happen in training. Hi, my name's Dave, and welcome to my daily journey through the Daily Stoic. 366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the art of living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hasselman. If you enjoy Stoic content and men's and self-improvement kind of things, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, moving on to today's reading, April 26th. Things happen in training. Quote, when your sparring partner scratches or headbutts you, you don't make a show of it or protest or view him with suspicion as plotting against you. And yet you keep an eye on him. Not as an enemy or with suspicion, but with a healthy avoidance. You should act this way in all things in life. We should give a pass to many things with our fellow trainees. For as I've said, it's possible to avoid without suspicion or hate. End quote. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 6.20. By seeing each day and each situation as a kind of training exercise, the stakes suddenly become a lot lower. The way you interpret your own mistakes and the mistakes of others is suddenly a lot more generous. It's certainly a more resilient attitude than going around and acting like the stakes of every encounter put the championship on the line. When you catch an elbow or an unfair blow today, shake off the pain and remind yourself, I am learning. My sparring partner is learning too. This is a practice for both of us. That's all. I know a bit more about him or her, and from my reaction, they're going to know a little bit more about me too. Ooh, I like today's reading a lot. That hits home. Something that I've been trying to incorporate in my life a long time, of like recognizing that everything is like, we're all training and we're all learning, right? It's the open mindset. I think especially when we were kids, like teenage years and everything so like seems so extreme. Oh, it's the end of the world if I don't get this. Oh, everything is destroyed. And like, all right, if like that, I don't ask that girl, then we make these big deal out of things. And I like what he says there too about like, all right, by looking at it as training. Like I remember when I got myself a coach to kind of help with my self-confidence, social anxiety, and dating and relationships, he told me to look at situations when I go and approach and talk to people that it's training, right? You're practicing. You're not, the goal is the fact that you went over and said hello. Like, if you get any further, that's bonus points, right? So I started to take that kind of same attitude towards everything in life. We're always training, right? And it allows me to be, kinder to my fellow, to my partner, to the fellows that are around me, to the people that are around me, recognizing that we're all learning. And when someone makes a mistake, I can learn more about them. They learn more about me. I can learn from the conflict versus saying, oh, no, it's over, right? It's no longer this us versus them or championship is on the line. The world isn't going to collapse. I remember when I was a chef, I thought, all right, if I didn't make, I had a mistake on had a perfect night of service, and then I made one mistake on something, overcooked or something went wrong, the whole night's ruined. I was like, no, right? Like, I've had to learn to look at it as like, no, okay, you made one mistake. How'd you make that mistake? Learn to correct it. And everything else was right? You got 99%, like, really good. Like, don't worry about the 1%. Things are going to happen, and learn from it, and learning how to kind of grow with it. Recognizing that everything doesn't have to be this so extreme kind of like, because that's high tension and pressure, right? That we're putting on ourselves when we're like, oh man, it's got to be just this way. And this kind of like everything is the championship game and everything has to be just perfect. Like, that's so much intense pressure that like you then like it becomes so much harder to even start or even to go through with it. But if you're like, hey, I just want to go do a thing, like videos, for example, right? Like me making this YouTube video. I didn't do my hair this morning. Like, it's like, oh, the lighting isn't perfect. I don't have the microphone thing isn't working, so I can't do it. I'm like, no, put the camera on, hit play, and make the video, right? There's 10 of you that watch it, so it's not like to the 20,000, even if it was to 20,000, doesn't matter, right? This is training for me. I look at this as my accountability for going through the Daily Stoic book to start sharing my message, putting myself out there. And it's not like, oh, pass, fail. No, like, oh, yeah, only 10 people saw it. Like, oh, then it must be a failure. Or, I didn't get a client through. I'm like, no, like, I did it, right? That's the win. Looking at where my kind of moving the goalposts so they're not such these high kind of expectations, but lowering the goalposts, making them really easy to kind of jump over so I can start building more wins and more wins and more wins and continue to train, right? It's the training in which we do our learning, right? It isn't in the championship game, it's in the training practice that allows us for that championship game. So when the stakes do become a little bit higher, you can still use that mindset, to kind of like recognize that, no, I'm training. What can I learn from this situation? How can I grow? And this becomes, I think, a valuable kind of mindset shift when we stop putting all this internal pressure on ourselves that it has to be perfect or it's like everything is on the line. And when you start to recognize that things are all about training and learning and growing, like, am I going the direction that I want to go? And it's not in the comparison of you versus someone else. It's you versus past you. Have I learned from past me's mistakes? Have I learned from past me? It's not you versus you. It's you versus you, not you versus the world, right? Because that's an apples and oranges comparison. Everyone's different. Everyone's unique. Everyone has their own stories, struggles, and challenges. But when you start to recognize your own, you start to see your own progress and you give yourself a pat on the back. You're like, hey, actually, I have grown. I tried this daily vlog challenge last year and I, barely got to, I think, March and I could barely do a video a day. And now this year, I think I missed once. So, a little pat on the back there. And it's that continual progress. But I don't look at it as like, oh, it's going to be the best kind of branding content for my coaching business and things like that. No, it's like, okay, this is training to get me practice. This is more up at bats. This is more time in front of the camera to get myself comfortable, to continue to practice. It doesn't matter if it's only, like I said, the 10 or 12 people that see this. It doesn't matter. Because for me, it's about that practice, getting it down, working through it, learning all the mistakes. So as I get better, right? This isn't it isn't a sprint. This is a marathon, right? I hope to be doing videos in the next 4 or 5 years, and I'll look back at these as like, oh my God, they're really cringy and stuff. But it'll be like, without that experience and that training, I wouldn't have gotten later in life. Just like when I was a chef, but I didn't have the training and experience, I didn't get to be able to cook better food and work at higher quality restaurants and really kind of learn my skill set. Same thing with anything. Without that training period and that constant training, you don't go anywhere. But I think that's all I got for today. That was I got a bit ranty on that one, but I really kind of am passionate about this particular topic because I think it is such a key mindset shift of recognizing that we're all in the laboratory practicing, and when you can start to use that kind of mindset, it relieves so much pressure, and especially social anxiety or things like that, it relieves it so much that you're like, okay, that it allows you to make mistakes. We live in a society now that, with the filters and everything else, everything has to be pristine and perfect. Don't make it perfect. Make it imperfect. Make it raw. Make it you. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be out there. Like, taking the action is more important than whether or not it's perfect. Getting a 75% versus a 0%, right? Like, you're taking a test, you're like, oh, if I don't get it perfect, I'm not going to turn it in. Then you got 0. But if you just tried and you got somewhere with it, you got 75, right? Or you got 60 or 80 or whatever it is. It's that trying and taking the action is a lot more than trying to be perfect at it. Don't be perfect. Just be you. With that, though, I think I'll end the video there. Don't forget to check out more Daily Stoic videos there. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you're interested, I think I got a thing for my coaching, my website. Check that out as well. If you're interested in learning how to practice through life and the training to become an awesome human being, check that out. It can help you. Anyways, with that, thank you to the 12 people that watch. And see you tomorrow, and you have a great, if not better, day.